Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is still Good Morning Abuja on NTH Channel 5, the Unity Station. This time we have our first guest in the house and we want to look at beyond literary fiction, exploring other genres and writing fiction in Nigeria. We have an author in the house and the person of Neoma Mitchell Egono. She is the author of the Kachiobi series, founder, Guild of Africa Thrillers Authors. Please join me as I welcome her.
Thank you so much
No,
for
ma,
having
thank
me.
you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you. When we talk about fiction, a lot of people begin to wonder, for a layman, what are we talking about here?
Okay, when we talk about literary fiction, we talk about essentially stories that focus on the human condition, human experiences, right? So basically, we look at it from the angle of a character. Like we're trying to explore the angle of a character, their unique personalities, their struggles, what it is that they may have faced. So you can also incorporate things like, politics, maybe one or two evils befalling them. But essentially, it revolves around the human person, the human condition. However, when we talk about genre fiction, that's when we talk about stories that are modeled with a very specific kind of formula, like you use a formula to model those stories. And that's when we talk about stories like crime fiction, futuristic thrillers, legal thrillers.
Romance.
So romance.
Yeah.
We have romantic thrillers as well. So these ones are genre fiction. But literary fiction are a bit more focused on a person, like they are character driven. You focus more on their experiences and what makes them who they are.
So let's look at the diversity. Let's look at how diverse are the genres being explored by Nigerian writers. Let's look at that.
Right. Okay. There's a lot of diversity. There's a lot of diversity. We know very much about literary fiction. So when we talk about literary fiction, these are the stories that we grew up reading. However, now we have a lot of diversity. We have authors that explore crime. We have authors that explore, political thrillers, science fiction, legal thriller. There's so many of them. So there is a lot of diversity. However, I would like to add that not all of them are actually published, right? Yeah, because some of them, they do have the talent to tell these stories, but due to one or two challenges, they are actually not published. But I have communicated with a community of writers, and I know that we have a lot of diverse writing amongst our authors and our writers in Nigeria. And I think Nigerian writers are some of the most talented in the world. And
I agree to that.
Oh, absolutely. So they are doing a fantastic job.
Let's look at the challenges and opportunities, that the writers face when venturing into this kind of or this style of writing.
Well, first of all, I think there are a lot of unique challenges, right? And some of them is that, first of all, literary fiction is seen as the most serious sort of fiction stories because that's what is most accepted. So most of these writers, when they set out to start writing, it's almost like they are scared. Who is going to accept me? Who is going to read my stories? Who is going to, so that is usually one of the challenges. And also another very unique challenge that I think that African storytellers, particularly Nigerian writers, face is that we don't really have a lot of funding for writers. We don't really have a lot of support for writers. And this is the kind of disparity that I see between African or Nigerian writers and American writers, for instance. There's a lot of publishing opportunities, but here we don't really have such. And that is one of the most unique challenges that I feel like writers have. And it scares them from wanting to come out and tell their story. But I think they need actually more support to be able to, tell their stories and be accepted.
Let's look at how the Nigerian reading public, how do they receive or accept this kind of writing?
Right. Okay. Well, the Nigerian public are very diverse. I would say that we're very diverse. As much as literary fiction is more of what's sort of generalized, but right now we have self-publishing. So it's like publishing has been democratized. Like it's no longer the way it used to be before. Like you have to go through a very big traditional publisher before you can get your story out there. So with the rise of indie publishing, what we call independent publishing, stories are more writers are more able to get their stories out there. So, however, there are still some challenges. Some of our readers, they are not really used to thrillers, African thrillers. They are not really used to them, so they are still trying to understand what is this. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it, and all that. I have met a couple of readers that some of them they read my books and they're like, I'm very surprised that there's an African story that has such a very unique and beautiful background like this. Is it possible? So I think this is some of the most unique challenges that some of our writers face.
Okay.
Some readers are still trying to get adapted to it.
Mm.
However, I think there is a growing interest for thrillers, right?
Okay.
There is a growing interest for thrillers. We want people. But writers need to have an opportunity for them to get their stories out there so that more people, I mean, there's a lot of appetite for these stories, but we need to have a more bigger platform
Okay.
and opportunities for the writers to get their stories out there so that readers can know that, yes,
Okay.
all the kind of stories you love to read thriller stories, you love action stories, it's very much obtainable here.
Okay.
Yes, so these are some of the things that I think are the biggest challenges.
Okay. Well, let's also look at the opportunities for you in Nigeria. What do you think are the opportunities for these writers?
Right. I think that, to be honest, we don't have a lot of opportunities for genre writers, people that write thrillers. But like I said, because that there's something called indie publishing now, where you don't have to rely on traditional publishers. Authors can write their stories, edit, format, and then put it on Amazon, platforms like Amazon. That is what I mean by indie publishing. They put it on Amazon seller. So in that way, it's easier for them to get out their stories. Unlike in the time when we have to rely only on traditional publishers to accept our stories and get it out there. So I think that, sorry, what was the question again?
We talked about opportunities, right? Looking at
Opportunities, yes. So these are some of the opportunities. However, there still need to be more platforms for writers to sort of come out and express their talents. And that is what we do at GATA, the Guild of African Thriller Authors.
Okay.
We hope to provide platform for writers to come, to network, to share their talent, their storytelling abilities. Once you have that creativity inside of you, you can come to platforms like GATA. I mean, there are a couple of other platforms rising up now, but I'm very sure of what we do at GATA, and we're able to provide those opportunities.
Okay.
GATA is relatively a new organization. We are still growing, but we believe that with the right opportunities and networking, we can be able to get ourselves more out there, and readers and writers can connect with us, and then we can get their stories out there more than
Okay,
needed.
from your own experience, how developed do you think the market for this literary fiction is in Nigeria?
Yeah, genre fiction. Okay. I would say, like I said before, we have a growing interest in thrillers. Some people are still trying to understand. Nigerians read thrillers, Africans read thrillers. However, I feel like they are more used to foreign thrillers. They are more used to reading books by,
Yes.
James Patterson, the likes of Freda McFadden and the rest of
Hadley
them.
Chase.
Exactly, James Hadley Chase. So they are still trying to understand that these things are very much obtainable here. So this is where I feel like we need to put our stories more out there so that they can understand that whatever it is they can get outside there is very, very much obtainable here as well.
Oh, okay. So let's look at the future. What does the future hold for this kind of writers?
Okay, well, first of all, I think that Nigerian stories, African stories are pushing the boundaries. They are breaking stereotypes. There used to be a time, or it's still happening in a way, when stories by Africans are seen in the Western world in a certain kind of way. It's what we call poverty porn. Stories that talk about poverty in Africa, suffering, all those kind of things. But now the future that I see is that genre fiction is really pushing the boundaries. I mean, we have a lot of powerful Nigerian thriller writers that are really, really pushing the writing.
Okay.
This thing. So I feel like in the near future, we can get to know more about Nigerian stories. And I also look forward to having most of our books on as audiobooks,
Okay.
where people with disabilities can get to listen to stories. I mean, there are people that love to read, but maybe due to one challenges or the other, they are not able to, read in paperback. So talking about stories that I feel like are really pushing the boundaries, I have some of them here with me.
Okay.
So this is my book, In
Wow.
Broad Daylight.
In Broad
So this is the
Daylight.
first book in the Kachiobi series.
Okay.
And it's essentially a crime psychological thriller.
Okay, you can turn it.
Oh yes.
No, the other way.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So this
In
is
Broad Daylight.
Yes, it's a crime psychological thriller.
Okay.
So it explores, a lot of crime, and the psychological aspect delves into the human psyche, the complexity of the human thoughts, intellect, and all that.
Wow.
So these are some of the stories that I feel like are really pushing the boundaries, right? And in the future, our stories are going to be more out there. And something else I expect to see more in the future in Nigerian stories and African stories is I want more of our books to be adapted into movies. I mean, we see people that love to watch movies and all that. We need to understand that all these stories can be adapted into what we see in Hollywood, right? Okay. So these are some of the things. Also, speaking, we also have an anthology by Guild of African Thriller Authors. It's actually named Nigerian Women Are the Devil's Playmate, and we have 7 powerful stories in this anthology, and it has a lot of reviews. It has about 1,000 plus downloads now. And we hope that with these opportunities, we can put our stories more out there and people can see that whatever it is that they can obtain out there, we have powerful writers here that are pushing the boundaries.
So it's proudly Nigerian.
Proudly Nigerian, proudly African. Yes.
Now, I know there are other writers that want to be like you, and especially for those ones who are trying to push their work or discourage. What would you say to them as a roundup?
Okay, first of all, I was saying that every writer out there, first of all, don't be scared to tell your story. Don't be scared to own your unique voice. I see a situation whereby, as a founder of GATA, I've seen a lot of writers that they focus more on readership. They just want people to come out. Immediately they come out, they become famous. I feel like the most important thing is own your voice. Don't be scared to push the boundaries. Don't be scared to move beyond the stereotypes. Read. I mean, I can't emphasize a lot the importance of reading. You love to write thriller stories, different genres. Read, read, read. That way you can be able to understand the kind of things, the way the writer crafts their stories, the way they build their plots, the way they add the suspense and the intrigues. And as much as that, I think it's very important for them to network with other writers. I mean, this is why we have a platform like GATA, the Guild of African Thriller Authors. You can join such platforms, see what they do, read their stories, network. I mean, just don't be scared to own your voice. Don't be scared to tell your stories out there. And with time, every other thing like readership will take care of itself. And then when you're done telling your stories, also try as much as possible to put in 1 or 2 efforts to market it out there so that our people, Nigerians love to read, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, we do.
Africans love to read. So if you're able to put your stories out there and market it and own your own unique voice, with time, the sky will be your limit.
Sometime, let me just say, sometimes ago, that they used to say when you want to hide anything from a Nigerian, you put it in a book, but no more.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Thank you. She has said it. Own your voice. Okay, and then mingle with other writers. Oh, thank you so much. So we've been speaking with Norma Mitchell Egono. Okay, she is the author of the Kachiobi series, founder Guild of African Thrillers Authors. Yeah, you've heard from her. You are now a writer and you want to push your work, there's a platform for you. She has just said so, and she has told us that all these books are proudly Nigeria. So we have what it takes. So you don't need to go reading other people's books. Remember that charity begins at home. Let's go on this break, and when we come back, the program continues. Don't go anywhere. We want to talk about the creative industry right now, and we have Mr. Korede Adebowale. He is the secretary, FCT chapter of Theatre Arts and Motion Pictures Practitioners of Nigeria, TAMPAN, and also the national secretary, TAMPAN Guild of Directors, TGD. We are looking at the role of the creative industry in Nigeria's economic development. Please join me as I welcome Mr. Korede.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you for joining us.
It's an honor to be here, man.
Compliments of the season.
Same to you.
So how are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm good. And you?
Thank you. I'm good too. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so we're looking at the creative industry. Let's look at the contribution of this industry to Nigeria's GDP.
That's overemphasized over the years. You can see that the non the non-oil sector um, aspect of our economy is growing faster, and you cannot take the creative industry out of it. We have played a major role.
Okay.
The art and craft, the film industry, the music industry. In fact, if anybody wants to say anything about Nigeria today, the music industry and our film industry is what they first understand before they understand that we have other things in Nigeria.
Okay. Okay. I know the job creation, if we talk about job creation, I know you would say
We're doing a lot in that aspect. If you go to Ibadan today, if you go to Lagos today, if you go to Asaba today, there are thousands of people laying their hands on something to do in the film industry. The light man, the sound man, the crew members of the film industry.
Okay.
Even we also impact on the lives of the community where we do those productions, because we pay for hotels, we eat, we do a lot of things. So we contribute to the economy to the lowest part of it, the grassroots. That the only industry who does that. Everybody benefits from whatever we do.
Okay, so from your own opinion, what strategies do you think that can be put in place for us to tap into there's more opportunities from this industry? Because I know that the industry has a lot of opportunities, especially for our young ones. So, what strategy do you think the government?
It's very simple. We must leverage on technology. Cutting edge technology has changed the industry today. One of which is AI, artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And recently, something happened in Nigeria. Netflix decided to step back with their investment in Nigeria. And I see that as a great opportunity for the government to sit down, call professionals and practitioners like us together. How can we leverage on this technology to also generate a lot of income for Nigeria and sell Nigeria to the world? Because technology has shown that there's no boundary. If you have to use our pay TV in Nigeria, they are restricted to just the country they are or the region they are. But technology, like an application, like app, designing an app like Netflix can be seen in America, in London, everywhere in the world. Your film can show anywhere. So Nigeria need to leverage on this technology to drive and to maximize the opportunity in the creative industry, and we are here to do that. So that is the direction I think we should look at.
Okay. If we look at where we're coming from, when I mean where we're coming from, talking about the industry, I remember growing up, the things we used to see, the movies we used to watch, and all that, especially the theater. People will run to the theater to watch a film. But now we've, grown, we've moved with this generation that people will just sit at home and want to go watch on YouTube and all that. So how well for you? Would you say we have gone very far, or we still have?
There's a lot of ground to still cover.
Okay.
Even though the theater style has changed, but it has transformed to something else, which is the cinema.
Okay.
How well are we doing even with the cinema? Every local government in Nigeria today can have a cinema.
Yeah.
Where the families can still go and relax and watch films. Because it's more interesting when you watch with a lot of people. And again, it further build the unity we are looking for in Nigeria.
Okay.
So this transition is not a bad thing, I say. Like you are talking about AI now going on YouTube. We can also develop this other aspect, which is the cinema, to cater for the family and the unity of Nigeria.
Okay.
Because when you go to the cinema, you have all manner of people coming in. It gives room for interaction. It gives room for networking and the rest of it. So the cinema thing is something that government also has to look at. They have to look at critically. Local government, I'm not talking of federal government now. Each local government should try and build cinema within their local government. This cinema can domicile even in the local government secretariats.
It will create what would I call it? Job opportunities and also
job, everything.
Yeah,
everything.
Income will come in.
So that those are things, because like this is the festive period. It's not possible for everybody to enter the Millennium Park, to enter other areas that government has
National
created.
theatre and all
So
that.
it's not possible. But if you have these things, and people are talking about economy now, the high of cost of things. So I don't need to travel from Kuje, for instance, to the central area if there are cinema in Kuje. If you have cinemas all over there.
That's a good one.
So government and people in authority and investors must look at these opportunities and exploit them and do things that will change Nigeria economy for good and also create unity among our people.
Okay, from your experience, what lessons do you think the creative industry in Nigeria can learn from creative industries outside? Lessons.
It's two way. It will shock you that I will go in this direction. There are two ways. We can learn and they can learn from us.
Yeah.
Nigeria creative industry is the only industry that started from ground zero. No investment from anywhere. Young people like us at that time just came up with ideas and said they can do stuff. And you cannot rule out the involvement of NTA.
Wow. Thank you.
For some of us who were born at those times, we remember things by Moonlight, we remember Village Headmaster and the rest of them, powered by NTA, who saw opportunity in young people who have ideas. And that's why even what I said the other time, I've said it before, that the app that Nigeria needs to change the narrative, NTA can be at the forefront of it.
Wow.
Why did I say that? NTA is the only station in Nigeria that is everywhere. The largest TV in Africa.
Yeah, it can't be that.
So we must use this technology, these things that we have. All we need is just a switch. So having said that, the international film industry, creative industry, one of the things that works for them is that they are so organized. They are so organized. Things are done in an organized way. And if we learn that, Nigeria will do better. I talked about structure the other time I was there as well. We need to build structures. I'm not talking of building.
Okay.
We need to set structure in place that will change the narrative of our industry. It's only in the film industry that people don't study, they don't get trained. They just say, because I'm a fine boy, let me go and act.
Or I have the talent.
And there's a saying that says that absolute power corrupts absolutely. So on this point, these are the areas I think if we learn from the international industry, we can use those things to organize our industry properly. So funding that we are looking for Africa Development Bank to invest in our film industry. We are looking for World Bank to invest in our industry. Yes, they know we are doing well. They know we are trying, but they don't get involved in an unorganized setting.
Wow. This conversation will continue after this break. So let's go on a break, and when we come back, we'll continue this talk on the creative industry. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's good to know that you are still there. We've been talking about the role of the creative industry in Nigeria's economic development, and we have Mr. Korede Adebowale in the house. Okay, so let's continue. Now, let's look at the support system, government policies, favorable or not favorable. So what would you say?
That's for now, it's still on a sketchy. As it is today, Nigeria don't have a policy for our industry, for the entertainment industry. There's no policy document. Every minister everybody comes, do whatever they can do individually, and they go. And that's why government today cannot even give you database on our film industry.
Wow, and it is very, very important.
Very, very, because you can't do anything without data. The world has changed. Yeah. You must be able to know what is happening where, how many jobs is being created. So even when government is giving reports of their own deliveries, they can't even mention the industry because they don't even have a policy that guides that industry. Let me give you an example. Abuja just had a film festival. And instead of Abuja to develop filmmakers within Abuja, they go to Lagos and go and bring people they think they know and their friends to the industry. Money wasted. Next year we'll come back and do the same thing. no meaningful impact on the immediate environment where these things happen because of policy direction.
Okay. So
Because people think that if you bring so person who is developing a film village in Oyo, who is already doing something in Oyo to Abuja, what will he do for you? Will he leave what he's doing there and come and build Abuja industry for you? No. You must look for filmmakers within your own territory that you can empower and develop. If possible, send them to countries where you think this technology are. That is how you can see immediate change and development. But by the time you start developing people in Oyo, in Ogun, it's just like pouring water in an empty basket.
Wow.
So that has been one of the greatest challenge that we have.
Okay.
And anybody that wants to lead this our industry must go to the grassroots. You must understand that the industry will work. I don't have to be a popular face, but I know how much I've invested in the film industry just this year. Okay. I've produced my own film. I've done short films. I've trained young people. Those are people that government should look at, because we have to multiply. Because I don't believe that I have this knowledge, I should keep it to myself. I believe that once I can multiply myself, it even makes my job easier for me. When I'm in a location, I have 7, 8, 9 of my boys who can do exactly or better than what I can do. Okay. The film will come out better and we get better results.
Okay, there is this question in my mind. Who is checkmating this industry? Because we see a lot of things. People just put up a lot of things on air, you understand, on social media. Is there a body responsible to make sure the writing is done, checkmating the members of this industry?
Yes. There's a government parastatal called Censor Board, Nigeria Film and Video Censor Board. They are in charge of regulating the industry.
Okay, I know of that, but from your association, within your association, do you have any setup? What will I call it?
Yes, we have guidelines, and that's why when you mention my name, you say first I'm the secretary of TAMPAN, Theatre Art and Motion Practitioners of Nigeria, where is an umbrella body where actors, directors, producers are warehoused.
Okay, the FCT.
All over Nigeria, we are everywhere. We are in Ondo.
No, I mean you are their secretary.
Like in Abuja, yes, I'm the secretary of TAMPAN.
Okay.
So TAMPAN is an umbrella body that covers other aspects of the film industry to guide and to give direction on areas we shouldn't go, ethics, training from time to time. Okay. Because we have TAMPAN, then we have Directors Guild, and we have Producers Guild within TAMPAN, we have Scriptwriter Guild, we have all these guilds within TAMPAN. And why did we do that? So that you can control what each of these groups do. You can set rules. Right now, I'm supervising the bylaw of TGD, TAMPAN Guild of Directors, where we are amending some of the laws to make sure it suits the present day situation. So all of that is done within the guild. So you are free to join any of the guild, because we have TAMPAN, we have AGN, we have other groups. But meanwhile, we interchange information, we share information, we meet through Censor Board, because they are the one who control every other guild. We are registered to them, and they control what we do as well.
I'm happy to hear that, because there are certain things you just watch on social media and you begin to wonder, So, but thank God
for the social media, though. Yes. Let me just add this: the Censor Board and the Copyright Commission are presently working with Google. To set rules, and that is in an advanced stage. Negotiation is going on the rules that guides content creation in Nigeria. Beautiful. And in a short while, you will see that most of those content that are not good for consumption will be taken out of our space, and so that we can have a sane society.
Oh, beautiful. Just as we round off, just in 1 minute, what advice would you give to someone who wants to venture into the creative, or wants to join you in the creative industry, to be part of your family? So what would you say to such a person?
One thing is that, first of all, you should know what you want. 2, always make sure that when you want to join this industry, you go to the right people who can give you the right knowledge, so that you can take off properly. And then when you come into the industry, please focus on why you are there. And don't be distracted by the noise and the other aspect of the industry. Focus on getting the reason why they are there. So with that, I think anyone who wants to join the industry can do well and can rise to the top.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you so much, ma.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
Yeah, we've been talking about the role of the creative industry in Nigeria's economic development, and you just heard from him. He is the secretary, Abuja chapter, Theatre Arts and Motion Pictures Practitioners of Nigeria, TAMPAN, and also the national secretary, TAMPAN Guild of Directors, TGD. Okay, we've been talking about the role of this creative industry, and he has said it, in Abuja, you need actors and actresses, and you have a show in Abuja. Please, charity begins at home. Let's use our own in Abuja. All right, the program is still Good Morning Abuja. Please don't go anywhere as we bring you this musical break. It's time for you to shake your body. Stay tuned.